By the way, what's your name?
My name's James.
James. Hi, I'm Aubrey. Have I interviewed you before?
No.
Okay.
We've spoken before.
Are you from DC?
No, I came up here a month ago from Occupy Orlando.
That's right. You gave me your friend's contacts.
Yep. And
That's right.
I've been here for the whole month.
Okay. Are you going? I thought you were going back to Orlando.
No. This is the center of the occupation right now, as far as I'm concerned. So
Okay.
I'm staying right here.
Awesome.
At least for another couple months.
Okay, so in regards to Occupy CPAC and Occupy DC's stance on aggressive actions taken by occupiers who are protesting CPAC.
Occupy DC we are peaceably assembled in McPherson Square to exercise our First Amendment rights.
Mm-hmm.
We would never officially, through our General Assembly consensus process, condone, support, or tolerate any acts of violence. We're a non-violent occupation. There have been planning meetings for CPAC, and in none of those meetings has violence been discussed, condoned, or tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
We plan on having principled acts of civil disobedience. We hope to get our voices heard and our message heard,
Mm-hmm.
but we as an Occupy DC are a peaceful occupation. We do not condone acts of violence.
Now, if people do act out, if people do act in a fashion considered to be violent, what is Occupy's stance on that? How does Occupy DC respond to the representation of it?
I can't speak for Occupy DC as a whole because the only things that we decide as a whole are decided in consensus at our General Assembly.
Yeah.
What I can tell you, though, is that Occupy DC is peaceful and nonviolent. My personal opinion only, not the opinion of Occupy DC, is that some people may cross a line. And if they do so, that's their individual acts. They are not supported or condoned by Occupy DC. If those lines get crossed, that's because individuals chose to cross those lines.
Has Occupy DC ever brought up in GA, like, how to respond to people acting out aggressively in the name of Occupy?
I don't know.
Yeah? You just haven't been to the GAs?
I haven't been to a GA where it's come up, so I can't speak to it.
Okay. Now I want to come to a GA and bring it up. These are the things I think about.
Yeah, I mean, but I know there are plenty of people who, again, as individuals, not officially as Occupy DC, but as individuals, will discourage people from being violent.
And how do you feel, like, as an occupier, how do you feel when you see people acting out aggressively or violently?
It's complicated.
Yeah?
My personal opinion.
Yeah, your opinion, not Occupy.
My personal opinion is violence only solves some problems. And the violence that the 1% has inflicted upon me and my brothers and sisters for far too long sometimes may have to be met with more resistance. I don't think that it is the time or place to have to do that yet. I hope it never comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But my personal philosophy is I will defend myself and I will defend what's important by any means necessary, to paraphrase Malcolm X. That's my personal opinion. I don't think we're there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't condone it at this point. Again, this is personal.
Yeah.
We're not at the point where it doesn't help the occupation right now.
Yeah.
And we're not, despite, I mean, Saturday here was horrific and violent and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But we defended ourselves. We didn't instigate acts of violence.
Mm-hmm.
First, we heard a brick was thrown at a police officer.
It was a
Nobody
bottle.
believed that because nobody here would throw a brick at a police officer.
Where would they even get a brick?
Now the story is it was a bottle. Okay? I'm curious as to how a police officer in a riot helmet with a shield got a cut on his cheek up here from a plastic water bottle. My guess is he took a baton accidentally from another officer and that they are lying.
Yeah.
We had 250, minimum 250 video cameras in this park that day.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can produce a single video that shows anybody throwing a bottle. It's pretty obvious where the violence comes from. It comes from the oppressors and their tools on the police force. And not all police are violent, but many that day were. It's already been reported and verified in the press that 25 of the officers here that day were from NYPD. And they love nothing more than beating up fucking occupiers. And that's exactly what they did. So when the talk comes to violence, one occupier possibly throwing a bottle, or somebody pushing down a barricade. I want to talk about my brother Shangri, who's in jail right now with a skull fracture and an arm broken in 2 places, and the frickin' jail won't let him go to the hospital. That's where the violence is.
How do they justify that?
You'll have to ask them.
Yes.
You want to talk about violence? I want to talk about the guy who got his ribs broken right in front of me because he wasn't moving fast enough for the police. That's violence.
How did that happen?
I was trying to tell the cops that we can't move any faster because we were being wedged into a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And they wanted nothing to do with it. I got a shield in the side of the body and pushed down, and the guy right next to me got a full-on baton in the ribs, and I heard his ribs crack.
Jesus.
We were moving, but just not fast enough for them. So when these, and I don't even care at this point, when these fucks talk about violence, the violence comes from the state and the police, not from fucking occupiers.
All right.